The sensor array perched on the barren moon of Karzon Theta hummed quietly, its long antennae scanning the void beyond the system's outer rim. For centuries, the Galactic Empire's border defenses had detected every ship, every flicker of energy that dared cross into their domain. Pirates, traders, diplomats, and occasionally smugglers. But tonight something was wrong. "Commander Urek, we've got a blip on long-range sensors." The technician's voice crackled through the comm link. Urek leaned forward, eyes narrowing at the central hollow screen. The anomaly flickered. A small vessel, barely the size of a scout frigate, weaving through space like a shadow. No identification codes, no transponder signals, no known hull signature, just a ghost. "Requesting identification, vessel," Urek ordered, voice calm but authoritative. Silence. No response. The border system's comm frequencies were flooded with Imperial signals, hails, warnings, demands to identify. Still nothing. "Deploy. Interceptors," Urek commanded. Two sleek fighters launched from the orbital station, streaking toward the unknown ship. But as they closed in, telemetry abruptly dropped out. The fighters vanished. A chill ran down Urek's spine. This wasn't a glitch. "Report," the station commander barked. "Interceptor 1 and 2, comms lost." "No telemetry," the technician reported, eyes wide. The Empire's sensor array swept again. The vessel hadn't moved far, yet it was no longer in any sensor range, like it had folded space around itself. Urek's mind raced. Unregistered vessels were common on the fringes, smugglers, scavengers, rogue elements, but none with this kind of technology. A warning flashed red on his console. Quantum emissions detected. Exotic drive signature, unknown. "Commander, this tech, it's not from any Empire catalog," the technician said, voice trembling. Urek straightened. He'd spent his life defending the Empire's borders, believing in its strength and order. Yet now, a vessel from nowhere threatened that illusion. The Council would not like this. "Prepare the orbital guns," Urek ordered. "If it refuses to respond, we destroy it." The moon's massive cannons powered up, their targeting systems locking on. Back on the vessel, small, sleek, almost skeletal in design, Commander Ilara Ruiz sat alone in the cockpit, her fingers dancing over controls. With practiced ease, her eyes scanned star charts and encrypted feeds. "Valk 7 status report," she said quietly. "All systems nominal. We remain undetected except for localized sensors. Imperial patrols are converging," the AI synthetic voice replied. Ilara's jaw tightened. Years of exile, decades in hiding. It had all led to this moment. The Galactic Empire believed humanity extinct, a relic buried in forgotten history. But they were wrong. They erased our colonies, erased our name, she thought. Now, it's time, they remembered. She activated the ship's quantum drive, an experimental engine capable of folding space-time, allowing instantaneous jumps in and out of reality. It was her ace, her shield. The Erebus blinked out of normal space, reappearing behind one of the orbital guns just as it began firing. Explosions rippled through the void, but her ship's shields shimmered and absorbed the blasts. On Karzon Theta, Urek cursed under his breath. The Erebus was no ordinary enemy. It was a phantom, striking with precision and disappearing before retaliation. "Status?" he demanded. "Orbital guns damaged, communication arrays offline," the technician replied. The Council's message was clear. No such vessel should ever breach the border. The Empire's control was absolute. Yet here it was, laughing at their might. Suddenly, the ship reappeared, this time above the moon's surface, transmitting a signal. The screen flickered, revealing a human face, scarred, fierce, eyes burning, with defiance. "Citizens of the Galactic Empire," her voice rang out over every open channel. "You erased our history. You hunted us into the shadows. But humanity endures." The broadcast was brief, but its impact thundered across star systems. In the Imperial capital, Council members stared in stunned silence. Urek's comm buzzed. Sir, the vessel is heading directly for the core worlds. We must stop it before it reaches Easel Prime. He nodded grimly. The Empire was at a crossroads. This isn't just a ship, Urek whispered. It's a challenge, and we must answer. Commander Ilara Ruiz leaned back slightly in her pilot seat, eyes never leaving the shifting starfield displayed on the Erebus's panoramic viewport. The deep void ahead wasn't just empty space. It was a gauntlet, the heart of the Galactic Empire itself. Systems that had oppressed humanity and countless others for centuries. The low hum of the ship's engines vibrated beneath her. Valk 7, the AI companion built from humanity's last surviving quantum cores, monitored every system with silent efficiency. We are nearing Imperial Outer Defense Grid. Estimated arrival in standard time, 34 minutes, Valk 7 announced. Ilara's lips pressed into a thin line. She knew the odds. The Empire would throw everything at her. Interceptors, dreadnoughts, swarms of automated drones. They would try to kill her or force her to surrender. Neither was an option. Set course for Easel Prime, she ordered quietly. The capital world, seat of the Emperor and the Council. If humanity was to make its message heard, it would be there. Soft chime interrupted her focus. Incoming transmission. Unknown vessel, you are ordered to identify yourself or be destroyed, crackled the voice of Admiral Corin Voss, the Empire's ruthless war hero, from an approaching battlecruiser. Ilara smiled grimly. They sent Voss, she murmured. He was known for his brutality, uncompromising tactics and obsession with preserving the Empire at any cost. Open channel, she commanded. The viewport shifted to reveal the cold, scarred face of Admiral Voss, his sharp eyes locked on her, radiating contempt. Identify yourself, he demanded. You are trespassing on Imperial space without registration. This is your final warning. Ilara's voice was calm but resolute. I am Commander Ilara Ruiz, last of the Terran fleet. You erased my people's history, wiped us from the stars. I am here to remind you of your crimes. Voss laughed bitterly. Terran? Myth and legend. You are a rogue, a terrorist. We will see, Ilara replied. Without warning, the Erebus vanished from the viewport, phasing out of real space. Admiral Voss's ship fired blindly into the spot where it had been seconds before. Ilara felt the ship ripple through space-time, shifting its quantum signature so completely that sensors couldn't lock on. It was dangerous, straining the ship's core, but necessary. Valk 7, deploy multi-phase decoys, she ordered. Small drones, indistinguishable from the Erebus, flickered into existence, weaving through space in erratic patterns. Imperial. Sensors locked onto several signatures, unsure which was real. Targeting disrupted. They can't pin us down, the AI reported. Voss's frustration was palpable over the open channel. You cannot run forever. Ilara's eyes narrowed. We're not running. We're coming for you. The battlecruiser gave chase, but the Erebus used its advanced drive to fold space-time, slipping through dimensional folds that no Imperial ship could navigate. The chase carried them through dense asteroid fields, deadly radiation belts, and narrow nebulae, places where conventional sensors failed and ships dared not tread. As they neared Easel Prime, Ilara's mind flashed back to stories passed down, through her family, of humanity's rise, fall, and secret survival in the uncharted void. The Empire had crushed the Terran colonies centuries ago, fearing their unpredictability and resistance. But a remnant had survived, hidden and evolving in secret. And now, humanity was back, not to conquer, but to reckon. Valk 7's voice interrupted her thoughts. Incoming transmission from Easel Prime. It is encrypted with highest priority. Ilara frowned. Play it. The message was a direct communication from a high-ranking Imperial official. Commander Ruiz, we know who you are. You are not the threat you claim to be. The Empire is not as monolithic as it seems. There are those who remember your people and question the path we walk. If you want peace, meet us at the council chamber. But know this. Any deceit will be met with fire. Ilara stared at the message, A flicker of hope ignited. But so did caution. The Empire was desperate, fracturing. Allies might lie hidden in shadows. "Prepare for arrival," she ordered. "We don't just come to fight. We come to expose the truth." As the Erebus descended toward Ezel Prime's orbit, the Imperial fleet formed a tight blockade, dreadnoughts with their turrets blazing, warships buzzing with lethal energy. Yet no one fired. The tension was electric. Urek's voice crackled through the ship's comm. "Commander Ruiz, this is Commander Urek of Curzon Theta. We have your message. Know that not all within the Empire support the Council's tyranny." Ilara nodded, eyes blazing with fierce determination. "Then we begin the reckoning. Humanity remembers, and it will not be forgotten again." The Erebus slipped through the blockade, escorted by silent watchers whose loyalty was uncertain. The shadow of the Empire loomed large, but the spark of revolution had already ignited. The Imperial Council chamber on Ezel Prime was a vast, cold arena of polished steel and shimmering hollow displays. The air thrummed with tension as the Empire's most powerful rulers gathered in emergency session. Emperor Zalor sat on his elevated throne, flanked by his advisors, military commanders, and shadowy intelligence chiefs. Outside, the city below buzzed uneasily with rumors and whispered fears. The broadcast from the unregistered vessel, the Erebus, was still fresh in their minds. The voice of Commander Ilara Ruiz echoing across every channel, accusing the Empire of genocide and lies. For many it was unthinkable. For others it was the truth they had buried. Senator Varen, a veteran politician with nerves worn thin by decades of scheming, slammed his fist on the conference table. "This is an act of war. We cannot allow a single rogue ship to undermine the authority of the Empire. Deploy the fleet. Crush them before they reach the core." But not all voices were so unified. Among the council, whispers of doubt stirred. Saria Vel, the Empire's chief xenoscientist, cleared her throat. "My lords, there are truths you do not wish to confront. Intelligence intercepts reveal that this Commander Ruiz is not alone. Our probes detected remnants of human technology previously believed lost to time. Materials unlike any known species, encrypted data archives from colonies erased centuries ago." A murmur spread through the chamber. Emperor Zalor's eyes narrowed. "Humanity was extinct. It is a myth, a story to scare children. Explain yourself, Vel." Saria's voice was steady. "The Terran colonies were systematically wiped out, yes, but a fleet of survivors escaped beyond our maps. We believed they fled to deep space, unable to sustain themselves. But our scans indicate they thrived, developing advanced technology beyond our understanding, watching us." The chamber fell silent. Even the Emperor seemed unsettled. From the shadows, a dark figure stepped forward. Commander Urek of Curzon Theta. His uniform was crisp, but his face bore the weight of recent horrors. "I witnessed their arrival," Urek said, voice low but firm. "The Erebus disabled our defenses without firing a shot. Their technology isn't just advanced, it bends reality itself. The humans are not just survivors. They are a force born from centuries of adaptation and resilience." A tense hush followed. Senator Varen's face twisted in anger. "So we are to believe that a single ship threatens the entire Empire? Preposterous. This is an act of terrorism." Ilara's broadcast flickered again on the central hollow screen. "You have hidden your crimes behind layers of propaganda and fear." Her voice resonated. "Our colonies were extinguished because we were unpredictable, because the Empire feared what it could not control. But humanity remembers. We carry the memories of the fallen, the dreams of freedom. We are here not to conquer, but to end the Empire's lies." The Emperor slammed his fist. "Enough! If this threat cannot be crushed by force, then we will root out the traitors within. No dissent will be tolerated." As the council erupted into chaos, Saria Vel quietly slipped away to a secure chamber deep within the palace. Inside, a network of encrypted terminals blinked silently. Saria began uploading classified files, Databases erased from public records, forbidden histories of the Terran colonies, accounts of the Empire's secret extermination campaigns. She was taking a risk, a dangerous one. But she believed the dire truth could shatter the Empire's grip and open the way for justice. Suddenly an alarm sounded. Security forces breached the door. Saria's fingers flew over the keyboard, sending the data across hidden resistance networks. Before the guards could reach her, she vanished into the labyrinthine corridors, a fugitive in her own empire. Meanwhile, on the Erebus, Alara monitored the chaos unfolding through intercepted transmissions. Valk 7, open all channels. Broadcast, the truth. The AI complied, transmitting the forbidden archives galaxy-wide. Across core worlds, citizens watched in shock as the Empire's sanitized history unraveled before their eyes. Families who had never heard the truth learned of lost siblings, vanished colonies, and erased identities. The Empire's propaganda machine faltered under the weight of undeniable proof. In a hidden corner of the Imperial Palace, Kale, a young technician with ties to one of the destroyed Terran colonies, absorbed the revelations. His loyalty to the Empire wavered. He had grown up believing in its strength, but now he faced a terrible truth. His own blood had been betrayed. Kale's mind raced. If the Empire continued down this path, it would ignite rebellion on a scale none could control. He reached out to a clandestine network of sympathizers, Imperial citizens who longed for change but feared the consequences. The wheels of revolution began to turn. Back in the council chamber, Emperor Zalor clenched his fists. "We will not lose control," he vowed. "Prepare to unleash the full might of the fleet. This insurgency will be crushed before dawn." But the seeds of doubt had taken root. The Empire was fracturing, and the ghosts of its past were rising to claim justice. Kale's hands trembled as he stared at the data streaming across his console in the dimly lit maintenance bay deep inside the Imperial capital. Classified files hacked from the highest security archives revealed the brutal truth. Entire Terran colonies, including his own family's world, had been destroyed by order of the Empire, wiped out not for rebellion, but simply because they existed. The Empire's carefully maintained facade of unity and justice was crumbling. He took a deep breath, recalling the images of scorched planets, of civilians vaporized in orbital bombardments, all justified under the banner of stability. Loyalty, Kale realized, was a lie the Empire told to keep its subjects in line. He could no longer stand aside. Behind the closed doors of the capital's massive quantum data center, Kyle tapped into the Empire's vast network. His goal was audacious: to inject a virus into the quantum cores that controlled factory output, starship manufacturing, and logistics, strangling the Empire's war machine from the inside. He knew the risks. If caught, the punishment was death. Yet inaction was a slow death for countless innocents. "Kale, are you sure about this?" whispered Mira, a fellow technician and his only confidant. "I have to be," Kale replied. "The Empire's grip is tightening. They'll crush any chance of peace." Together they worked through the night, evading automated patrols and internal firewalls. The virus was a masterpiece of sabotage, silent, undetectable, and designed to spread through every connected system like wildfire. Meanwhile, the Erebus drifted silently in orbit around Ezel Prime. Commander Alara Ruiz reviewed the intercepted Imperial communications. The fleet was mobilizing, the Council fractured but ruthless. The clock was ticking. She contacted Urek, now an uneasy ally, through a secure channel. "We can't win with force alone," Alara warned. "The Empire is too vast. But if we can sever their supply lines, disrupt their fleets, we might level the playing field." Urek's voice was grim. "I'll coordinate with dissidents inside the capital, but the risk is high. The Emperor's eyes are everywhere." As dawn broke over the Imperial capital, chaos erupted. One by one, starship factories ground to a halt. Supply depots went dark. The fleet's automated defense grids faltered. Imperial commanders scrambled, but the sabotage was too deep, too widespread. In the midst of this turmoil, Kyle and Mira moved quickly, spreading the virus through hidden nodes and backup systems. But their actions did not go unnoticed. Imperial security forces, guided by an AI threat detection system, traced the breach to the maintenance bay. "Move! We've been compromised," Kyle shouted, grabbing Mira's hand. They sprinted through narrow corridors, alarms blaring behind them. Kyle's mind raced. Was this the end? Would their rebellion be crushed before it even began? Suddenly, a squad of guards blocked their path. Kale held up his hands. "We're not traitors. We're trying to save the Empire from itself." A tense silence followed. One guard, younger than the rest, hesitated. "My sister's colony. She sent me letters before it was destroyed. I don't want to die for lies." The guards lowered their weapons. Kale's heart pounded. Perhaps the tide was turning. Back on the Erebus, Alara received a coded message from Kale. "Sabotage underway. Fleet crippled. The people are waking." A faint smile crossed her lips. Good. It's time the Empire felt fear. Across the galaxy, the first sparks of rebellion ignited, not with guns and explosions, but with the quiet courage of those willing to defy the lies. The Empire was vulnerable. The question was, would it survive the storm coming for it? The imperial capital of Ezel Prime was a city on edge. The usual hum of controlled order was replaced by a restless undercurrent of fear and uncertainty. News of the sabotage rippled through the sprawling metropolis like a shockwave. Factories silent, fleets immobilized, supply chains unraveling. The Empire's mighty war machine had been crippled from within. Emperor Zaelor sat rigid on his throne, his gaze sharp and cold. Around him, generals and advisors scrambled to find scapegoats and solutions, yet every plan they devised was shadowed by the growing realization that the Empire's foundation was cracking. "We cannot afford weakness now," Zaelor declared, voice like steel. "Mobilize loyal forces. Hunt down these insurgents and traitors. Show no mercy." But dissent stirred quietly in the corridors and chambers. A faction within the council, long wary of the Emperor's brutal methods, began to whisper among themselves. Some saw the sabotage not just as a threat, but as a message, a call for change. Meanwhile, aboard the Erebus, Commander Alara Ruiz watched the chaos unfolding through hacked Imperial broadcasts. She knew the moment had come to move beyond sabotage. The people needed more than whispers and secret attacks. They needed hope, a rallying point. "Valk 7, prepare to broadcast a message to the core worlds," she ordered. "It's time to speak directly." The AI's synthetic voice responded. "Message parameters ready. Shall I proceed?" Ilara's eyes burned with resolve. "Yes. We expose the truth. We offer a new path." The broadcast began. Ilara's voice echoing across millions of screens and transmissions, her image a symbol of defiance and hope. "To the citizens of the Galactic Empire," she declared, "you have been told stories of unity and peace, but those tales hide a darker truth. The Empire erased our people, our colonies, because we refused to be controlled. But we survived. We remember. And now we stand to reclaim justice and freedom for all oppressed worlds." The message was met with shock, anger, and in some places quiet relief. For years, many had felt the Empire's heavy hand but lacked a voice to challenge it. Back on Ezel Prime, Urek convened with a growing network of dissidents, disgruntled officers, scientists like Saria Vel, and common citizens fed up with tyranny. "We have a chance to change everything," Urek said. "But we must act carefully. The Emperor's forces still hold many key systems." Saria nodded. "We need allies inside and out, and we must control the narrative. If we appear as mere rebels, the Council will crush us. But if we present a vision of a better future, we can inspire hope." As the factions planned, Imperial loyalists launched counterstrikes to retake disabled factories and regain control. But every victory was Pyrrhic. The virus Kale unleashed continued to spread, disrupting systems across the core. In the shadows, Kale and Mira coordinated with resistance cells, relaying intelligence and sabotage plans. Each success chipped away at the Empire's grip, yet danger loomed. Imperial intelligence was tightening its net. Betrayals and arrests threatened to unravel the fragile alliance. On the Erebus, Alara prepared for the next phase, We must deliver a decisive blow, not with weapons, but with revelation, she said. If we can capture the Imperial Council, chamber and broadcast their own secrets, we can shatter their legitimacy. Urek agreed. It will be perilous, but it may be the only way to force change. As starships loyal to the Empire scrambled to respond, fleets loyal to the rebellion began to form. A diverse coalition of human survivors, sympathetic Imperial factions, and alien worlds tired of oppression. The galaxy stood on the brink. The storm that would reshape it all was gathering, fueled by the courage of those who dared to defy an empire built on lies. The orbital defense platforms around Ezel Prime blazed to life, their massive cannons turning toward the approaching fleet of the Erebus and its growing allies. The sky above the Imperial capital was thick with warships, dark silhouettes against the burning stars. Commander Alara Ruiz stood on the bridge of the Erebus, her eyes steady as she watched the enemy forces array themselves in a formidable blockade. Valiant efforts, but futile, came the grating voice of Admiral Voss, broadcast directly into their comm channels. His battlecruiser loomed large, a symbol of Imperial wrath. You dare bring insurrection to the heart of the Empire? You will be crushed. Alara's fingers tightened on the console. We bring truth, and with it, the end of your tyranny. Erebus slipped forward, weaving through enemy fire with quantum folds, its shield shimmering under relentless bombardment. Behind her, a coalition of rebel frigates and alien vessels pushed past the Imperial fleet, igniting dogfights across the void. Below, the city on Ezel Prime braced for impact. Citizens hid in shelters while resistance cells moved covertly through the sprawling urban landscape, sabotaging communications and rallying sympathizers. Inside the Imperial Council chamber, Emperor Zalor watched the unfolding siege with growing fury. The rebellion had crossed a line. Deploy the Praetorian Guard, he ordered. The city will not fall into chaos. Capture Alara Ruiz alive. She must answer for her crimes. Urek, now openly aligned with the rebellion, led the charge against the Praetorian Guard. His forces clashed with loyalists in brutal street battles, the narrow alleys of the capital echoing with the sounds of gunfire and desperate shouts. Amidst the chaos, Sariavel worked feverishly to secure a communication uplink in the council chamber, one last chance to broadcast the Empire's darkest secrets directly to the people. Ilara, your arrival is our beacon, she whispered into the Come, her voice steady despite the tension. Hold fast, we'll open the gates from inside. The Erebus deployed a boarding team led by Kale and Mira, who slipped through maintenance tunnels and security corridors to link up with Saria. Each step brought danger. Loyalist patrols hunted them relentlessly. Meanwhile, Ilara faced Admiral Voss in a tense standoff above the planet. Stand down, Voss, she warned. There is still time for peace. Voss sneered. Peace? There is only control. Surrender now, or be destroyed. Without warning, the Erebus executed a daring maneuver, cloaking briefly and striking the battlecruiser's vulnerable rear engines. Explosions rocked Voss's ship, forcing it into retreat. Not today, Ilara muttered. On the ground, the rebellion's boarding team breached the council chamber's defenses. Saria's fingers flew over the console, breaking encryption and overriding security protocols. Uploading broadcast now, she said. This will expose everything. The chamber's holoscreens flickered to life. Streams of classified documents, images of exterminated colonies, intercepted orders to silence dissent, and recordings of council members' darkest secrets. Across Ezel Prime and the wider Empire, millions watched in stunned silence. The facade of unity shattered. Emperor Zalor's face twisted in rage. Cut the transmission. But loyalist forces found their comms jammed. The rebellion had seized control. Outside, the city erupted in cheers and cries of defiance. The siege was far from over, but the rebellion had delivered a blow that no force could ignore. Alara's voice resonated across the now free channels. The Empire has lied to you for centuries. Today the truth rises. Join us. Together we will rebuild a galaxy where freedom is not a dream but a right. The tide of history was turning. The siege of Ezel Prime was only the beginning. The Imperial Council chamber still smoldered from the chaos of the broadcast, but the reverberations shook the very core of the Galactic Empire. Across countless worlds, officials, soldiers, and civilians grappled with the truths revealed. Atrocities, once hidden, now splashed across every screen and holosuite. The facade of invincibility was broken. Emperor Zalor paced in the depths of his private chambers, the weight of betrayal pressing on him. His trusted advisors whispered urgency, yet many eyes flickered with doubt, uncertain which path would preserve the empire, strength through iron will, or a fragile peace forged by compromise. "Send envoys," Zalor ordered, voice sharp as a blade. "We must secure loyal allies. Those who waver must be reminded who commands the stars." But cracks deepened in the once monolithic empire. Several high-ranking governors, already uneasy with Zalor's ruthless reign, convened secret meetings. Among them was Governor Lyra Ven of the Draconis system, a powerful warlord with ambitions of her own. "The people see the empire's cruelty laid bare," she said to her council. "Our rule depends on stability, but this instability can be our opportunity. Align with the rebels and we reshape the future on our terms." Her words sparked heated debate. Some feared rebellion's chaos. Others thirsted for a fresh start. Meanwhile, in the rebel stronghold aboard the Erebus, Commander Ilara Ruiz convened with Urek, Saria, Kyle, and Mira. The victory at Ezel Prime was a critical foothold, but the road ahead was uncertain. "The Empire will retaliate," Urek warned. "Loyalist fleets regrouping on outer systems, they will try to isolate us, starve us of resources." Ilara nodded. "We need alliances. Beyond humans, beyond former Imperial subjects. The galaxy is vast and many worlds chafe under Imperial rule." Saria tapped into galactic networks. "I've sent messages to independent systems, mercenary clans, and alien coalitions. Some are cautious, others curious. But the truth gives us leverage." Kyle and Mira relayed updates from resistance cells embedded in key systems, each reporting increased crackdowns but also swelling support. "We have to be ready for war," Kyle said grimly. "But war without hope is lost." In the outer reaches, Governor Ven's emissaries secretly met with rebel representatives. The air was thick with suspicion and ambition. "You seek to dismantle the empire," Ven said, "but what will replace it? Anarchy? A new dictatorship? We need order, a new council where all voices are heard, including mine." Ilara listened carefully. "Order without justice is oppression. We fight for a future where no one rules by fear." Ven smiled thinly. "Words are easy, power is harder, but perhaps there is common ground." Back in the Imperial capital, Emperor Zalor's security chiefs intercepted clandestine communications. Traitors were not just rebels, but embedded within his own ranks. A purge was imminent. "Root them out," Zalor demanded, "by blood if necessary." But fear bred paranoia. Loyal commanders hesitated, unsure if they served the Emperor or themselves. On the streets of Ezel Prime, civilians navigated the fragile peace. Some celebrated the rebellion's promise. Others mourned the destruction and uncertainty. In hidden enclaves, whispers of revolution grew louder. The galaxy's oppressed found courage in the cracks of an empire breaking apart. Ilara stood once more on the bridge of the Erebus, looking out at the swirling stars. "This is just the beginning," she said softly. "The storm has come. The question is whether we rise from it or are consumed." Her crew met her gaze with unwavering resolve. The galaxy was changing. Loyalties would be tested, alliances forged or shattered, and in the end, only those who dared to fight for truth and freedom would shape the new dawn. The stars over Ezel Prime glimmered faintly through the heavy smoke and rising dust. The battle for the heart of the Galactic Empire had not been won by sheer firepower alone, but by the unyielding spirit of those who refused to accept oppression. In the ruins of the Imperial Council chamber, Commander Ilara Ruiz stood among her closest allies, Urek, Saria, Kyle, and Mira. The weight of victory pressed on their shoulders, mingled with the cost of the countless lives lost and planets scarred by decades of tyranny. The broadcast that had shattered the Empire's lies echoed still across the galaxy. Planets once loyal to Emperor Zaylor sent envoys to negotiate peace. The rebellion was no longer a fringe movement. It was the pulse of a galaxy awakening. Yet even as celebrations erupted across star systems, Ilara knew the work had only begun. "Zaylor is not defeated," she said quietly. "He's a shadow now. But shadows can linger. We must build something better, or the darkness will return." Yurek nodded. "The Fractured Council offers an opportunity. If we can unite the factions, there's a chance for lasting peace." Saria's eyes shone with determination. "We have the technology, the knowledge, and now the trust of the people. It's time to rebuild." Kyle stepped forward, his voice steady despite the scars of war. "We fought because we believed in freedom. Now we must defend it with wisdom and courage." The coalition began forging a new galactic assembly, one that included representatives from human survivors, alien worlds, and former Imperial officials willing to renounce the old order. Governor Lyra Ven, once an ambitious warlord, stood beside Ilara as a symbol of reconciliation. At the heart of the assembly was a shared pledge: no empire would rise from the ashes, only a federation founded on justice, transparency, and respect for diversity. In the shadows, Emperor Zaylor's final loyalists vanished into deep space, plotting revenge but weakened beyond hope. The empire that had ruled through fear was no more. On Ezel Prime, the people rebuilt their city from rubble. Statues commemorated those lost in the fight, and murals told stories of courage and resistance. Children played beneath the stars, their laughter a promise of a freer future. Ilara gazed at the horizon, feeling the first light of a new dawn warm her face. "We carry the memories of those who suffered," she said softly. "But we also carry their dreams. A galaxy united not by conquest but by hope." Her voice was carried across countless worlds, a beacon for those who believed in the power of resilience and truth. The war had ended. The real journey, the journey of healing, justice, and renewal, was just beginning. And this time, humanity would face the future together.